So there's no easy way to say this, but you're leveling metabolism wrong. Let's talk about it. What up, guys, and welcome back to another Tarkov video. This video is going to be surrounding one of the main myths about leveling metabolism. We're going to talk about that, and then I'm going to teach you how to level metabolism efficiently and to get it elite quickly. Before we dive into all of that, if you guys like the video, brings you value, make sure you smash the like button, and you can always subscribe for more content like this. I would love to catch you guys on Twitch. We're there pretty much every single day. Grab some caffeine and come hang out. But let's get into the video. Okay, so for those of you who don't like the in-depth videos like this, breaking into stuff deeper, make sure you check out the timestamps. They're in the description below. It's not gonna offend me if you just skip around to what you wanna see. We're gonna be talking about two very different things. One is gonna be breaking apart the myth of how metabolism works. And then later in the video, I'm gonna show you how to efficiently level it. So wherever you wanna be, make sure you go there. Before we get into it, the TLDR of this video, okay? For those of you who don't wanna stick around for the video, people say that when you eat in raid and drink in raid, it's the exact same thing as eating and drinking in stash. It's not true. You actually make double to even more when you do it the opposite way and make sure that you're eating and drinking only in raid. So if you guys want to level it, you don't want to have the efficient stuff and you don't care about all the min-maxing and you just want to level it quicker, make sure you're always eating and drinking in raid. That's it. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one. With that being said, everybody who wants to stick around for the rest of the video, here we go. The first thing that we're going to talk about is a major myth that people come into my chat all the time, especially early wipe, when we talk about leveling skills, and they ask me, why do you bring food and drink into raid? You know that it levels exactly the same. They fixed it or whatever. It was a bug and now it's not a bug. You know, it levels exactly the same. That's the argument. Not true, okay? So not last wipe, but the wipe before, 2 wipes ago, I proved that not to be true. And we tested it in raid, we tested it in stash, and tried to keep as many controls as possible to make sure that the testing was efficient. Last raid, we tested it. It was not true, even though people swore by it. Now I'm telling you, dude, I have max as well, and it's exactly the same. That just means you played a lot. It's not true though. This wipe, it's not true, but we're gonna make a video on it. So that way, when next wipe comes or this wipe keeps happening and people say it, or maybe you didn't know and your friends didn't know, I did all the testing, I crunched all the numbers for you, okay? You make a significant, if not double sometimes, and more than double, times the amount of XP when you eat and drink in raid versus eating and drinking in stash. So let's start breaking it down. The way that we tested this is when I was in stash, I made sure that I had the allotted points. So I would come out of raid thirsty or come out of raid hungry. I would have the allotted points. That way I can eat and drink in the stash and it would count towards the exact same way I would do it in raid. The things we went over are these 4 items. Now, item number 1, we went with the can of iced green tea. Now, this can, when we were in raid, we went from 38.9 to 47.6, netting us 8.7 points. When we did it in stash, we went from 2.2 to 6.9, netting us 4.7 points in stash. So as you can see, we went from 4.7 and 8.7. We almost doubled our gains on just this one item. That's a very small item, just by doing it in raid, okay? The next item was a full Iskra, making sure that we have the allotted points for the full Iskra. So making sure that we can eat the full 80. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So the full Iskra in raid, we went from 10.9 to 28.3, netting us 12.9 points, okay? In stash, we went from 26.4 to 31.1, 4.7 points. In this example, we got triple the amount of XP that we would have got, give or take a few points, in raid than in stash, okay? The next item is a sorry. I wanted to make sure that we were eating something else that had a lower energy level, okay? So this is gonna give us 48 energy versus the 80. Now the sorry in raid, we went from 24.6 to 36.5, netting us 11.9 points. In stash, we went from 47.6 to 52.2, netting us 4.6 points. Almost again, triple the amount of XP on a lower dose in raid, okay? And if you guys aren't noticing, the way that the skill levels is based on the values you're filling up. So the amount of energy you're restoring and the amount of hydration you're restoring is also the way that the level works. So for the people who give the argument, well, it doesn't matter what you eat or drink, I'm just gonna get what's cheapest, I'm gonna eat crackers versus an Iskra, it does matter. The amount of points that you're filling up, and if you have the full allotted points being filled versus just eating every time you're at 2, which is another argument. So a couple things here. People will say, well, if you're at 98, just eat whatever you want and you'll get those from 98 to 100. It'll give you the same XP as if you were to eat from 50 to 100. False. It's based on how much you're actually restoring. That will give you more XP before you go into diminishing returns, which we'll talk about in a second. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Vita Juice. We took this Vita Juice. Now I wanted to test this because this gives us hydration and it gives us energy. So I was trying to figure out, so we did just energy, we did just hydration, and then we're doing energy and hydration, okay? So for the full allotted points on both, for a full Vita Juice in Raid, we went from 24.9 to 35 even, which gave us 10.1 points. And when we did it in Stash, we went from 23.8 to 29.7, which gave us 5.9 points. So what this told me is most of the time in Stash, we were getting about 4.6 or 4.7. And the reason why they are different is because Tarkov rounds up. So it goes from the smaller amounts and it'll just round up to the next number. In the Stash, the highest we were able to get was 5.9 points, and that is only when we combined energy and hydration. So like a Vita Juice, a milk, a Rat Cola, any of those things that gives us both nets us the most in Stash. Doesn't net us the most in Raid, but on the contrary, for the values of only 28 and 8, it got us the closest to something like food, which gives us the most. So the way that these values are working, at least with the testing, which we tested a lot more, I just didn't want to fill up this whole video with just a bunch of stats. I wanted to do the core differences of hydration, energy that's lower, and then energy and hydration. So we did those, but we did many more tests, and food always gives us more XP than drink, unless you're doing hydration and energy together. So milk is amazing for leveling your metabolism. When you find it in Raid, I would always pretty much drink it after my timer. Now I'm gonna talk about the skill in Raid so I can show you how it works. And then we're also gonna talk about how to efficiently level it. That way you guys can get max metabolism very, very quickly. Okay, so we're in Raid. Let's talk about the most efficient way to level. The most efficient way, if money is not an issue, to level your metabolism is actually to drink a condensed milk, which takes away 65 hydration. You have to pay attention to this because you won't get the same XP. This can only happen at the beginning of Raid. Now, the reason why is because your energy should be already full when you come into Raid. If you don't have energy and you use this as a way to maximize your gains, you will lose it because you will use the energy portion of this and then you will waste your drink on the negative hydration because you will already be in the diminishing returns arc, which I'll explain in a second. Basically, if you want to do the condensed milk method, you have to do it in the beginning of Raid. So if you feel like you're going to be in factory and you can't do it right away, there's certain places that I won't do it because it takes a second. So you're going to drink the condensed milk and then you're going to drink a full water bottle because this is going to replenish all of the hydration that you just took points from. It can't be something smaller like a green iced tea. It has to be something that is taking all the points. That will give you 12.4 points at the beginning of your Raid. Huge gains, huge. Now, the way that it works, I'm actually going to do it real quick for you guys. Let's look at our skills. We're at 91.6. Okay, let's go ahead and drink this. And then we're going to drink the water. We just leveled. Okay, so we're over here at 4. So we actually got a little bit more than this. We got 12.7. 12.7, that's more than I usually get. And then what it does is it gives us this little red arrow. See this blue arrow? This blue arrow means you're good to go. Whatever you do towards this skill, it's gonna level. You're gonna get XP for it. What this red arrow means is I'm getting now diminishing returns on this skill. There's an area that it shows the diminishing returns. Is it not in here? Okay, so leveling speed decreased. It says 0%, but you're gonna get diminishing returns. If you eat and drink in this 5-minute period, it's a 5-minute period for metabolism. I haven't tested every single skill. I know they reset differently, but metabolism is 5 minutes. So at this point, now I'm gonna do my raid, run around, do things. And the second portion of this is I will keep these on me, or I will keep ibuprofen. Ibuprofen is going to take -17 hydration, and this is going to take -19 hydration. This is going to deplete my sources. When I get closer to the 5-minute mark, you can use your phone as a timer or whatever's easier for you. Tell your robots in your house, whatever. After that 5-minute timer is done, you're going to be at decreased hydration and decreased energy. When you replenish it again, you will get XP again. Now, I'm not saying stay in the raid for 50 minutes as long as you can so you can get the most. It actually works best if you do this like twice and then go back and get the initial thing that you get when you come back into raid and get that 12.4 to 12.7 points when you start a raid again. Don't get all crazy about it. Just doing that twice will level it very, very fast. The other way that you can do it is if you don't want to do the condensed milk because it's expensive, which when sugar is low, you can craft it. I'll show you right after this. You can craft it for 1 sugar and 1 milk. It makes it pretty cheap. You get 3 condensed milks and you can do this in raid. If you want to save money, just use painkillers or just use ibuprofen. The painkillers, right when you get into raid, pop 2 of them. That's going to net you -36. Use something to fill up that 36 for your hydration, and it'll give you a similar effect. It's going to net you right around the 10-point range versus the 12.7 to 12 or 12.4 to 12.7. But it's cheaper and you still can level decently fast. But the condensed milk water bottle method is definitely the best method for leveling your metabolism quickly. Okay, so the 3 myths that are down. Myth number 1, it doesn't matter what you eat or drink. As long as you eat or drink something, you'll get the same XP. False. It depends how many points have been taken and how many points have been replenished in your hydration and energy wells. Myth number 2, as long as you lose any type of hydration and energy, if you eat or drink in that period, it doesn't matter if it's 3 versus 50, you'll get the same XP. False. You actually get 40 to 60% less XP if you're replenishing 3 points versus 50 points. And myth number 3, you get the exact same XP if you eat and drink in the stash versus eating and drinking in raid. That is false. You actually get 2 to 3 to a little bit more sometimes times more XP if you do it in raid. Eat and drink in raid. Thank you guys so much for watching another video. If you guys got some value out of today's video, make sure you smash the like button. It does go a long way for the channel. You guys can always subscribe to see more content like this, and you can hit the bell to be notified when these videos go live. I would love to catch you guys by the stream. We are live almost every single day, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes in the evening. But either way, grab caffeine and come hang out. It'll be a good time. I hope you guys are very blessed. Hope you have an amazing day or night, depending on where you're at in the world. Before you go anywhere, make sure to check out these other videos. Hopefully they bring you value. I will catch you guys on the next one. And as always, happy raids.